Hello, everybody. Welcome to an episode of Rare Gems and Cuts. I'm your host, Cliff B. And here on Rare Gems and Cuts is an opportunity for me and my guests to share their love, joy, and the power of music. And today I have a real rare gem here that I'm going to introduce. So let me just start this off right with my introduction here. Okay, let me make sure. Her name is Choc'Let, Choc'Let. I want to introduce everybody to my good friend who I've known for quite a while, Miss Patryce Banks, who is the co-founder of the legendary group Grand Central Station, and is also a wonderful person, a singer in her own right, and she has a lot of other titles that I'm gonna just let her go through. So welcome, Patryce. How you doing today?
How you doing, Cliff? I'm great. I have to say, I thought you were gonna break out in a song when you pulled the pitch pipe out.
Let me,
I
yeah, hold
thought
on,
you
let
were
me,
getting ready to sing
I
for
was, let me
us.
do that, hold on. Playing on the funk box, y'all. Her name is Choc'Let. Chocolate. There you
All
go, huh?
right, there you
All
go,
right,
there you
right?
go.
Yeah,
All
yeah, yeah.
right.
There we go. Right, that's better. That's better. So
Mm-hmm.
let me. I just wanna give a little disclosure to people that don't know. You and I have known each other a long, long time. Now
Right.
there are certain things that I do know about you, and we're not gonna get into all the details. But one of the things that I know about you that I still don't know that you never would like to talk to me about is your age. So we're not gonna get into that age thing
Good.
today.
Yeah,
Other
let's
yeah,
not
yeah,
do that.
we're gonna leave that alone. Other than saying
Okay.
I've known you for quite a long, 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 long time, right? Um,
That was four longs. Long, 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 long.
yeah, and then add a seven to that. Okay, so four longs and a seven. That's how
Uh-huh.
long we've known each other, right? Which is
Okay.
that's an amazing thing. You know what I mean? So we're gonna. I know that. You know what I'm saying? You're still not gonna tell me your age because you never did tell me your age. You know. Um. Yeah. So like I said, I want to see if you. I don't know if you really remember this, but I'm gonna just kind of. I'm not trying to bust you out or anything like that, right? But see, can
Hmm.
you see this pic? Can you see this picture here?
Yeah, I can see that picture.
Okay. Okay. Now, let me just say something to you. That is what I had on when I first met you. That
Mm-hmm.
outfit there. It was a kind of a long kimono outfit,
Mm-hmm.
and that goes way way back there. So I
I
just wanted
love
to
it.
just kind
Yep,
of
that's
yeah
you.
yeah
That's
yeah
you, all
yeah
right. That
yeah
is
yeah yeah
you.
yeah yeah yeah. So
Hmm.
anyway, how are you doing today?
Fine, I'm doing good. I am looking forward to doing this interview with you. Well, have this chat with you rather. COVID is attacking everywhere, but here I'm in California, so far so good. Everybody's safe. I'm staying in the house. Okay.
Yeah.
I hardly ever go outside. So I like doing these Zoom things because it keeps me connected to what's going on, in the world. If it were
Yeah.
not for these Zoom interactions I have with people such as yourself, I would just be just up in here, just a prisoner
Ooh.
to CNN. Okay.
Yeah, you and me both.
Mm-hmm.
I'm coming up on being, I say, for lack of a better word, being locked in my house since March 13th. So
Mm-hmm.
I've been in my house since March 13th and coming up on that. So I know how it feels. So, and it's kind of a strange world we're in now. You know what I mean? Where we're doing Zoom meetings and connecting with people in cyberspace and all these things. But
But
it's
you
the
know
new
what? I
order.
like it though. I like it because I have done several interviews on Zoom, and I like it because you have access to people that you, because everybody's at home, that you might not have had access to. So it's interesting to get to really see what people's houses look like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And you can really you know check into and get to know and actually talk. People are willing, celebrities are willing to do these Zoom things because they're so bored they don't know what to do. So they
yeah,
are willing to just let to whoever wants to contact them. It's all good. So that's been real interesting too, to be able to actually look into these people's lives who you only see normally, like if you go to their concert or something, you know. So that's been a good thing. And also, I'm not really mad about being in the house. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem being in the house. Some people
Yeah.
is like really messing them up, but not me.
Yeah, I'm on the
Mm-hmm.
same page as you.
Mm-hmm.
I obviously I have a lot of entertainment. You know, I got a lot of records
Mm-hmm.
behind that keeps me busy and
Yeah.
you know keeps my head right and stuff like that. So
Mm-hmm.
I know exactly what you're talking about. Have you been doing any? You know, I didn't. One thing I didn't intro you is being a writer too. Have you been doing any writing since you've been in the house?
No, I have not been doing any writing.
Not at all. Okay.
Unfortunately, no, not at all. Because you
Okay.
know that spirit has to hit. So
Yeah.
it'll
Yeah.
come. It'll come.
Yeah.
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 Mm-hmm.
I obviously want to tell people, you know, this is a particular book that obviously is special to me. I hold a chapter in here, and so we're not going to get all off into that. But if you know people kind of want to read about your life story, this is a great book to
That's
really
the
read about
one.
it. Right, right.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I will say I'm blessed. I have a chapter in here. Chapter 21 is my chapter, right? So I know the chapter number. So 21 is my chapter. My AKA is Kalimba, so I'm just gonna say that, and we're
You're
gonna
just
move
gonna put
away
it
from that.
all out
Yeah,
there.
yeah, we're gonna
Okay.
move away from that. We'll keep on moving. But you also have another book too. What is the name of your other book that I
I
don't
have two
have?
more books. I have one
Two more
called A
books.
Chocolate. Yeah, the first one was A Chocolate State of Mind. This one, Deja Vu, is the second one. And the third one is Secret Sacrifice.
Okay, what is your secret sacrifice about? I'm not really familiar with that.
Okay.
What's
Secret Sacrifice is basically about my experience through life with every type of abuse. Like when I was a little girl, my stepfather, he like molested me, you know, for about 3 or 4 years. And then it moves on through my life in school. I had some incidences in school with teachers. And then it moved on through to when I was with Larry. You know, he was, that was a domestic abuse situation. So in almost every phase of my life, starting from a little girl till about the age of 8, 6,
wow?
maybe 6, through through my relationship with Larry, there has been some type of abuse, the gamut. So
Mm-hmm.
in this book, what I'm doing is I am encouraging basically women to tell their stories, you know, because even now in these days and times, you know, abuse and stuff is still, women are still keeping it a secret. And
Yeah,
so that's why I call the book Secret Sacrifice, because it is time to cut all that out, because there are too many resources out here now where women can go and get help. So I just want to encourage women to go get help, share my story with them so that they can see that, you know, you can end up on the other side on 2 feet standing. And I
yeah.
also have a, video on YouTube called Black Eyes. It's a song I wrote. It's called
What's it
Black
called? What's it
Eyes.
called? Black Eyes.
Black Eyes.
Okay,
And which
okay.
that's the story of you know, the abuse I was going through with Larry, basically. That's what that is.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Was
called,
that
yeah,
was
it's
that
called,
was that hard?
go
Was
ahead.
that hard for you? Was that really hard for you to sit down and start to write that? Where did your inspiration come from to start to put a pen to paper to write that? Was it just your pain or suffering that just made you just go at
What
it?
the
The
song?
book. Don't know the writing the
Oh,
book. Writing the
Oh,
book.
well, I have been saying I was going to write a book forever. I kept saying it because, you know, when you have stuff in your spirit, like if you're writing a song, a poem, whatever it is, if it's in your spirit, it won't let you rest until you let it out. So
Mhm.
finally, I finally wrote the book. And while I was writing the book, it was, you know, it was helping me out. It was therapeutic. It was
Okay.
cathartic. It helped me. I was worried about if I started writing the book, how I would feel about it, because you have to go and relive all those memories, all those feelings, all those
Absolutely.
experiences. You have to relive them so that you can write them in a way where it's genuine enough for people to feel what you are writing. So when I did start writing it and I did start experiencing those feelings, it took me by surprise because it was making me feel better.
Mhm.
So it was a
And
good
then,
thing.
and that's a good time to talk about that now, obviously too, because you know people and mates, and we're all kind of stuck in our house sometimes, dealing with a lot of different mental issues. You know,
Hmm.
there's a lot of abuse that's going on right now that's really not really talked about since COVID. You know, and so that's a really good thing for people to really pick up on and really get into that, the
And
mental
plus
health
they're
aspect.
saying, yeah, and they're saying that because people are stuck with each other in their homes and stuff, that domestic violence is on the upswing,
Absolutely.
because women just feel like they have to, be imprisoned by this kind of behavior because of COVID. So that's very important, for people to know, even through COVID.
Yeah. Yeah.
You still don't have to be held a prisoner to this kind of behavior. You don't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna flip it a little bit. We're gonna kind of talk about not necessarily your childhood, but on a more positive, uplifting note. Like I want to switch it to just kind of music and things that inspired you as a child to sing and stuff like that. I know you had kind of told me about one of your idols back when you were growing up was Mahalia Jackson, right?
Hmm.
Her strong, powerful voice is something
Right.
that you grow up with that in the church? Is that something where did you experience Mahalia Jackson?
Well, if you have read any other part of the book except for your chapter,
Mhm.
then you would know that my father was a preacher. So
Okay.
I began to sing in church. And the
Mhm.
first time I remember singing was an Easter program. I sang Yes, Jesus Loves Me. So the reaction that I got from the congregation, it took me by surprise because, I was a little girl, I was about 4, took me by surprise. But I loved it. I loved the people clapping and smiling at me and pointing towards me. And I was getting all this positive attention. So it was like, okay, well, I can't wait till the next program so I can do this again. So that's
Mhm.
where it all started. It started in my father's church. And then it went on to, after I realized that music was something that, it seemed to be like a part of me, you know what I'm saying, because it would come out even when I least expected it. I was always singing. So my mother, she used to play gospel music around the house, and so she liked Mahalia Jackson, so she played her a lot. And so I remember Mahalia Jackson and also Elvis Presley. I have to put him in there because there were not a lot of examples on the TV for Black children, Black people, really, to relate to when it came to music. Like it was a bunch
Mhm.
of musicals, but they were all white people.
Right, right.
So Elvis was the first one that I saw that had something that spoke to me. You know what I'm saying? Elvis was doing it in another kind of way. And what he was doing, I really liked it. So I asked my mother to give me a guitar. So she got me a Mickey Mouse guitar. And
Mhm.
so I was singing Elvis. I was doing Elvis, playing my Mickey Mouse guitar on Saturday, and on Sunday I was doing Mahalia Jackson. So that's how that went. So as
Mhm.
time went on, I had other influences. My next greatest influence was Aretha Franklin. Love, there you go.
Yeah,
Loved
she
Aretha
is.
Franklin. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
was my it was my objective and my goal in life to be the next Aretha Franklin. I want to be the next one until I heard Sly and the Family Stone on the radio. When I
Mhm.
heard Sly and the Family Stone on the radio, then I knew exactly why I was on Earth. I was on Earth because when I was listening to it, when the song was over, the DJ said that this music was called funk music. He said funk. I had never heard that word before like that. James Brown, he used funk in his lyrics a lot, but they were just lyrics. Um, but the DJ said this was the type of music this was. And so then from that point on, I knew what it was I was supposed to do. I was supposed to somehow be a part of this music called funk. And so
Mhm.
after I heard them, that was my life's objective, to do whatever I could do to be a part of funk music.
So what was it? What was your first funk experience or group experience? How did you dive into the funk? How did you get recognized?
Well, uh, okay, I immersed myself in it. After I heard that song on the radio, I went out and bought every Sly Stone record that was out
Really?
there, and one of them
Really?
was the one you just showed, and there was a whole new thing. You help me out. It was a whole new
Yeah, yeah.
thing.
Oh, yeah. I just, yeah.
What were the other two? It was two more. It was two more before they
There's a riot.
became,
There's a riot going on. Life,
yeah, Life.
life,
There you go.
life. That was a
Those
hot album. Life. Yeah, yeah. That was a
Life.
hot album.
I think it was Dance to the Music and a Whole New
Dance to
Thing.
the
Those
music.
three, I
Yeah,
think it
yeah,
was.
yeah, yeah,
So I
yeah.
went and bought those, and I studied. I just studied. I listened to all of their voices. I listened to the beat. I listened to it had a heavy gospel influence, which spoke to me. Sly had a heavy gospel influence because his family, his father was a preacher and they had a church. So
Mm.
they were like raised in the church.
Wow.
So so that spoke to me. So I began to try to figure out how I can incorporate what I wanted to do in the funk genre. So I had a band at the time, and
What was the name of your band? What was the name of your band?
it was called The New Perspectives.
New Perspective. Okay.
The New Perspectives. And so my manager at the time was Dick Griffey. You know who Dick Griffey is,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? Do you
Mm-hmm.
know who Dick Griffey is? Okay.
I've heard the name. I've heard
Oh,
the name.
so Dick
Definitely.
Griffey, he created Solar Records.
Okay.
So um so he became my manager. He saw me, let me go back just a little bit. He saw me when I was in a group called Doodletown Pipers, and we were playing in Vegas. And he was on the road. He was the road manager for the Supremes. So one night after the Supremes gig, they came to our gig, the Doodletown Pipers gig, because there was nothing else to do in Vegas that time of the morning. So
Mm-hmm.
they came and checked us out. And so Dick saw me, and so he told me that if I ever left the Doodletown Pipers, to give him a call. So I did. About a year later, I called him. So he became my manager. My group was the New Perspectives, which was my group in high school. We just got back together after I left the Doodletown Pipers. So Dick was promoting a show at a venue called the Forum in Los Angeles. And the Young Rascals were the headlines. Sly and the Family Stone were the special guests. And I begged Dick to put my group on there because I wanted to meet Sly and the Family Stone. So he did. He put my group, we opened up, New Perspectives opened up. And after the show was over, Dick introduced me to everybody, in particular Larry, because I was like in love with Larry at that point. I loved the bass. I didn't even know bass existed until Sly and Family Stone, and I heard Larry play, and then that's when
Right.
I knew bass existed.
Right.
So he introduced me to everybody, and they were getting ready to leave, and I was just so happy that I was able to meet them. It was like a dream come true. And so I was standing looking at the Young Rascals perform, and Larry came up from behind me and asked me if I wanted to go to a Sly and Family Stone after party. And
Wow.
I turned him down because I came with Dick. I came to the gig with Dick. And so, I didn't want to leave, with
Right.
somebody else. So
Respect.
so he gave me his number and I gave him mine. And I did not expect to hear from him anymore because I said no, I wasn't going with him. But he did call me like the next day. And so then the rest is history, right? We got
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now,
Mm-hmm.
I want to ask you. There's a particular. Now, let me just rewind just a little bit, right? Now, I'm not really familiar with the Doodletown Pipers. It's kind of vague to me, right? But they're more of a. I don't know how to describe their
Okay, let
type of
me
music.
describe them for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Give me.
They okay, it was the Doodletown Pipers, and there was a group called the Young Americans. So it was 16 members in both of these groups, I believe. And in the Doodletown Pipers, everybody was white except for myself, Augie Johnson. Augie Johnson later went on to create the group Side Effect.
Mm-hmm.
Then Jim Gilstrap was in the group. He went on to sing with Stevie Wonder. He was in Wonder Love. His voice is on the beginning of You Are the Sunshine of My Life. That's
Okay.
Jimmy. And he
Yeah, yeah.
also sang the theme song to Good Times. Jimmy also did the theme song to Good Times. And
Cool.
so much stuff. He did so much stuff. I can't even name all the stuff he did. So it was myself, Augie, Jimmy, and two other people, Sherry and Tommy. So what we did was we just sang like your All-American. We were like an All-American type group. We
Yeah,
were on,
that's
yeah,
my recollection of it. Yeah,
yeah,
all
yeah,
American
yeah, yeah.
pop
We were
stuff.
All-American. Yeah. Every song ended with yeah, like that. I mean, every song ended like that. so so that was my
Ah,
first professional gig. They came to their managers came to my school, my high school, Dorsey in Los Angeles, Dorsey Downs. And so they were looking for they want to be diverse. So they were looking for, because they were over in the hood when they came to my school, okay? So they were
yeah.
holding auditions, and so I made it. And so that's how I became part of I sang Aretha Franklin's song, Natural Woman. So
Hmm.
that's how I became a part of the Doodletown Pipers. And that was my first professional gig. That was the first gig that I actually got a check and was getting paid, although they were ripping us off because we were a bunch of kids. They were ripping us off. However, I did get a chance to go all over the United States because we did a lot of TV specials for the holidays and stuff like that. And then I
Hmm.
was also on 2 or 3 times. We were also on Ed Sullivan.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And so it was my first professional gig, and it was the first time
Yeah,
I got a chance to travel around the
yeah.
United States, and it was good. It was, it was good for that.
And I would imagine too, knowing the quality of your voice comes from a real gospel background, so you probably really stood out over a lot of the All Americans that were there with you. If I could
Well,
make that opinion, no?
yeah, well, like I did stuff like "Oh Happy Day,"
Yeah,
when they
yeah,
wanted to throw
yeah.
some soul in there, for whatever reason. I did "Oh Happy Day." That was one of my main songs and stuff like that. So when they wanted
Yeah.
to call themselves, throwing some soul in there, then that's when
Right,
they
right.
used the black people. Mm-hmm.
Right, right, right. Throw you in there.
Mm-hmm.
I I want to ask you now. I want to ask you about this, right? And I want you to kind of tell this story to people. I'm a little familiar with the story because you've shared it with me, right? From this album here, there's a
Mm-hmm.
riot going on, right? 1971, right? Now I have to bring your attention. I have
Yep,
to bring folks
man.
to your attention. Right there,
Move over a
with
little
the
bit.
okay, hold on. Did I get it right here? Okay,
Yeah, right there.
right there.
Right there. There you go.
That's that's you. That's
Mm-hmm.
you, right? So I want you to tell people the story on how you ended up on here, and I would like you to tell people what you were singing on here too, and how you got there.
Okay.
Okay?
To be honest with you, I have no clue. I didn't
Okay.
even know I was on there until I saw the album cover. I had no clue. So apparently people were taking pictures the whole time, knowing what the concept of the album was going to be, knowing that they were going to do a collage. I don't know
Right.
when. I think that picture was taken at Sly's house, I believe. That
Okay.
picture was taken at Sly's house during one of the many recording sessions. So with Larry, when he was still with Sly. So I believe that's when that picture was actually taken, but I had no
Right.
idea. Okay, so there's a song on there called Love and Hate. That's on the single. It's on the other side of Family Affair.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. So so Larry and I were at Sly's house because Sly called Larry to come because he wanted to record. So we got there and we were ready. But the thing about Sly is whenever you were dealing with him, you were dealing with him on Sly time. So we had been there for maybe about 3 days before Larry finally got a chance to do whatever part he was supposed to do. So one night at about 3:30 in the morning, because we were staying in Sly's house, he came and knocked on the door, told Larry, come on, it was time. It's finally time. After 3 days, it's finally
Three
time.
3 days? What?
3 days. And then like at about 3:30 in the morning, he comes and knocks on the door. So we go into the studio, Larry and I, we go into the studio. And so Sly is doing the backgrounds to Love and Hate. So he needed another voice. And so I was there. So he so on Love and Hate, that is Larry and myself doing a particular part on the background. Feel so good, wanna move, that part. So finally, one of my dreams came true. And I was able to be on a Sly and Family Stone song. That was like, oh man, I was so pumped. I was so excited about that. Although it was like 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, that was just fine. Like I woke all the way up and I was singing for life, okay? On that song.
Wow.
With Larry. So,
Whoa.
so that was wonderful. I love that. I was, you know, it's what?
Were there any other songs you did on here? Any other tracks you said on sing on here?
No.
No. Okay.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Love
my
and
family
hate.
my family for a long time thought that was me on Family Affair because they got it confused. You know, I was on the other side.
The other side, the B side.
Yeah. So, but that was the only one, and that was good enough for me. One was good enough for me.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Especially if you've been looking at those albums all that time, and Sly, and he was the man back then. You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Sly, what can you say? You know, there are no words. There are no words.
As far as I'm concerned, there are no words.
Yeah. 3 days, huh? 3 days. Like
we were there 3 days.
Slide time.
Luckily, my mother, you know, I came from Los Angeles, so I just was not stuck at Sly's house. You know what I'm saying? I was able to leave and come back, you know, because Larry, he stayed there so that he could be there for whenever Sly needed him. But I'm like, you know what? I'm about to go down here to Johnny's Pastrami. I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Want to pastrami? I'll be back.
I'll be back.
Yeah.
All right. I got another one I need to pull out for you too. All right. So.
Okay. Yeah, that's my girl right there.
Yeah. So people don't know. Tell us a little bit about your experience with this particular album too, right? I need for folks to kind of know about this album too.
Okay. Well, that was Betty's first album, and Greg Arrico produced it. So Greg, and they did it in Sausalito, California. So Greg just called everybody from the Bay Area that he knew. He called members of Tower of Power. He called Graham Central Station, just all the musicians in the Bay Area at the time. Greg called in. So Graham Central Station did the majority of the tracks on the song. That's why they are so funky. That's a very funky album. So, so therefore, I was called in to help with the vocals. So I did. I had a chance to sing with Betty quite a bit on that album. We did a duet called Your Man, My Man. And I'm on just about every other song. I'm on the background vocals of just about every other song too. And so meeting Betty was an experience I will never forget. Betty was a character. You know, she was and I have to say, and I tell this story all the time because it's true. So when we went in, of course, the music was cut first, and then we did the background vocals. And so then Betty, after we did the background vocals, Betty would put her parts on and you know, her roughs. So when I first heard them, you know, I was like, girl, quit playing. You know, you know, do your real vocals, quit playing.
Right.
But those were her real vocals. And so she had a sound all of her own. And it was something that I had never heard before. And at first I wasn't really able to relate. But as we went through completing the album and as the songs all gelled, and when she finally did all her vocals and stuff and I heard everything, then I understood. Betty was doing stuff the way she wanted to do it. She was hearing stuff the way nobody heard it before. You know, as a woman, I don't, you know, before her, there were never really any female vocalists of our time that was doing that. You would have to go back to hear something close to that, like, homegirl Bessie Davis and Ma Rainey. You would have to go back there to be able to hear something like what Betty was doing. Yeah. So, and the album blew up, and Betty is she has a gigantic following, and they hail her as being the queen of funk. And and she was my friend. We hung out the whole time she was doing the album. I was in Sausalito. She was staying in a hotel. I was with her a lot, hanging out with her a lot. She was a vegetarian. She didn't smoke. She didn't drink. She was washing her hair. When she washed her hair, she conditioned it with that big old fro. She conditioned it with mayonnaise and eggs. And at that time, I was wearing wigs. So she told me, she said, Pat, you need to come out of those wigs and just go ahead on and just wear your hair. And you need to use this mayonnaise and these eggs. It's very good conditioning for your natural hair. I told her, Betty, I said, look, only thing I do with mayonnaise and eggs is make a sandwich, okay? You go ahead on with that. I'm going to continue to wear my wigs, okay? But I love Betty. She was cool. That was a wonderful experience doing that album with her.
Yeah. I got one more, and then we're going to move on. But this is a kind of an interesting switch up for you too, right?
Right.
Gary
Bartz.
How did you fall into the jazz Gary Bartz thing?
Well, actually, it was just another gig. I knew this young lady. Her name was Sybil Thomas. And Sybil is the one that turned me on to Gary and called me in on this session that Gary was doing. So he was trying to do this album, he was trying to do like a fusion type, throw some funk in there every once in a while. So Sybil told me about it, and he knew who I was. And so went to the session, and the songs that I did appear on, that I was throwing a little flavor in there. It was a little funk in there, you know what I'm saying? To me, it wasn't so much as, trying out jazz or anything like that. It was just that it was another session. And I was about to get paid, and they wanted funk. Anytime anybody ever called me, I've sung on just about so many different kinds of genres of music, on people's albums. So anytime a person called me to do their album or work on their project, it was because they wanted to infuse a little funk in whatever they were doing. Like, I worked a lot with Wayne Henderson from the Jazz Crusaders. Wow, and so Wayne, he loved funk, and he threw it into his music anytime he had a chance. And so I worked with him a lot because of that. So when they called me, they would call me for, a reason. And so I just did what I could do.
Were you like with the Gary Bartz, were you doing that? Where was that as far as your time goes? Were you still singing with Graham at the time, or were you kind of, that was after, right?
Right. Yeah. Okay. That was after. While I was with Larry, I didn't do anything else but Graham Central Station. But after I left Graham Central Station, then I started doing so many doors opened up for me, and I started doing so many things that I had no idea, that I could do or wanted to do. But I was pursuing a solo career, so I was trying to keep the ball rolling while I was waiting on my solo career to jump off. That one right there.
This is the one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's the one, right? Yeah.
So that one I had waited so long to do that album. I had worked so hard and waited so long. So I got hooked up in Ndugu Chancellor. I know you know who he is.
Great drummer.
He signed me to a production company. He wanted to produce me, and he produced some demos on me there was 4 songs. And so he was connected with this brand new record label out of New York called T Electric. So after we finished the demos, he submitted them to to T Electric. And so they loved it. It was a father, Jim Terrell, and his daughter, Cheryl Terrell. And Cheryl was a big Sly and the Family Stone Graham Central Station fan. And so it was easy to get signed. It was wonderful. They did everything right. I was excited, did the album. And the album had only been finished maybe about a month, and then they were releasing the album, and then shortly after that, the record company went bankrupt.
Went bankrupt, huh?
Went
Okay.
bankrupt.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
they were distributed by MCA, I believe. So they went
Yeah.
bankrupt. So I didn't get a chance. My album didn't really got kind of cut short. But
Yeah.
however, it still managed to get out there, and people all over the world, always hit me up. They have favorite songs off the album and stuff. So
Yeah.
a lot of fans in Japan and over in Europe and stuff. And so it did manage to get out there to a certain
Yeah. Yeah.
extent.
So, do you have any? Okay. So now let's get. I got one more for you. One more for you too. Okay. Hold on. I
Okay.
forgot. I forgot about this one. Right. I forgot about this one. Right.
Which one? Oh, that's Reby. Yeah. That's when I was working with Wayne Henderson. So he was
Okay.
doing all kind of projects. And so he produced this album for Reby. And so he called me in, and this brother named Gary Glenn, wonderful songwriter. He wrote a lot of stuff for Anita Baker. And so we did the background vocals to A Fork in the Road. And that is one of my favorite works, because those background vocals on A Fork in the Road are,
Mm.
I don't even
Mm.
know the word for it. I just
Mm.
love those background vocals that
Mm.
Gary and I did. We arranged them and did them. So yeah, that was why Reby, she was cool to work with. She was
Yeah.
down to earth, and she was real cool to work with.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
pretentious, none of that.
Yeah. She pretty much just did that, and then just kind of, you never heard from her anymore. She did the Centipede
Yeah,
album, and that was
yeah, that was
it. I
it.
mean, for me, at least for me.
Right. I think that she was, like I said, she was real down to earth. I think that she just did it because to prove to herself that she could do it, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Yeah.
just to say,
Yeah.
okay, I can, I did this. I have an album too. I'm a Jackson. So let me go ahead on and prove that I can do this too. So she did. And Centipede, it was kind of a hit, right?
It was.
Because
Oh yeah,
because
it was a
Michael was
hit.
on it. Yeah, because
Yeah.
of
It
Michael.
was a
Yeah.
hit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but after that, she was like, went home to her husband and her kids.
He's like, I'm out of here. That was good. That was good while it lasted, but that's not me. You know what I mean? I can
I know,
relate. I can relate. I got
I know,
relatedness to that. You know what I mean?
I know some people who were in her band, and went out on the road with her the short time she was out on the road, and like Reby she was not into any of that. She did
Yeah.
not want
Yeah.
to go out on the road, none of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's when Hollywood gets turned into Hollyweird. And you got to be
Mm-hmm.
at home. It's like I'd rather be home in the kitchen or doing
Yeah.
something at home than out here. You know what I mean? It's not for everybody. You know
Yeah,
what I
she
mean? It's not
tried
for
it. She
everybody.
tried it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How was the transition for you from going from Graham to doing your own thing? Was that a hard transition for you, or was that an easy transition for you?
Well, at some point in your life, all of us, we just have to do what we have to do. So being
Absolutely.
perfectly candid about it, going from Grand Central Station, being up here, right? Doing all the gigs we were doing, all the major gigs, getting all the hype, all of that. And from going there to starting all over again, because when I left the group, I had to start all over again.
Yeah.
It
God bless
was
you.
not fun at all. It
God
was
bless you.
not fun. I did not like it. However, I was focused on doing my own solo career. So that's what motivated me. No matter what I had to do, I knew that at the end of the road, it would be my own solo career. So whatever I had to do was worth it. So I did a lot of things, but they all, I was still doing music. I did like everything. Casuals, which were corporate gigs. I did for a minute. I was doing sessions almost every day of the week. I was doing demos. So I was always working. I went out on the road with Gary Bartz for a minute. I went out on the road with Stephanie. I went with Shaka. So I was steadily working, steadily working. So
Mhm.
as long as I was working and making money, then in my mind, that made it all right. You know what I'm saying? As long as I was working in music, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
that made it all right, because I knew at
Yeah.
the end of the tunnel was going to be this solo album that I was going to get a Grammy for. So
Mhm.
that's what motivated me. So it was hard. It was not easy, but you have to do what you have to do. And so that was my
Yeah.
mindset. Plus, I had a daughter. I had a baby girl, so I had to make sure that I was taking care of her. So I just had to do what I had to do, but it was not
So
easy.
when you had your daughter, did that kind of change your perspective on, the lifestyle that you were into? Did it shape things in different directions of being a mother for you? Did you have to alter some things, or did you carry around with you when you were doing your thing? How did that change you, or did it change you?
No, no. I was blessed to have a support system. So my mother, she took care of Unique anytime I needed her to. So I was able to go out on the road. I was able to do sessions. I was able to do whatever I needed to do.
Mhm.
And she helped me. Actually, she helped me raise Unique when she was a baby and then a toddler and stuff. So that was no problem at all. I just moved forward and did what I had to do.
Mhm. Do
Hmm.
you have like when you were working with Graham, do you have any like really like kind of like real special like wow moments that you remember being on stage, or certain shows, or certain experiences, or even touring with particular people? Do you have any like just like moments just like are like wow, just
Right. Well, there are so many of them, Cliff. So many of
give
them.
me give
But
me a couple of them. Give me a couple of them. Give me a couple of them. Come
well,
on.
one of them was when we were supposed to play. Well, we did at Grand Central Station, did play, but Sly was supposed to be. You remember that gig? Sly was supposed to
Oh
be
yeah,
there.
I remember that. I
And
remember that.
so I was really looking forward to that gig because, I love Sly. I still love Sly regardless of anything. I love this music. And so I was looking forward to that gig. So, because I wanted to see what would happen. To me, it was like a boxing,
And yeah, and
a boxing event.
let me just tell people, because people don't really know. See,
Hmm.
it was because I was in the audience, so it was kind of build up to what we used to have called a battle of the bands. So
Hmm.
everybody that showed up, it was like, okay, you got Graham on this side, you got Sly. So it was like a battle of the bands type of affair. I just wanted to
Hmm.
just kind of give that prelude. But anyway, carry on. Yeah, so
And
go
to
ahead.
me, it was like I said, it was like a boxing event. I was like, okay, what's going to happen? Who's going to get knocked out here? What's
Yeah,
going to
yeah,
happen? So
absolutely.
I was like so ready for it, so ready for it. But then Sly didn't show up.
Yeah.
So I didn't get to, that I didn't get to see that one through. Uh, Larry was nervous. He was so nervous he didn't know what to do. I was ready. And I think the rest of the band was ready too, but it didn't happen. So I
Mm.
remember that stands out a lot. Um, Being on the road with the Ohio Players, we did a tour with them. That stands out because
Mm.
of the fact that we were on the road with them for a while. It was a tour. And so uh, I love the Ohio Players too. Of course, they had a
Mm.
few
Mm.
songs,
Oh yeah.
Fire,
Oh yeah.
Fire, Fop. Uh,
Yeah.
I want to be, no, what's that? Was it I Want to Be
I
Free?
want to be free. I want to be
Yeah,
free.
they
I
had some
want to
songs.
be free.
So the thing about it was that we went on first. We went on before the Ohio Players. And so I'm just telling the truth here, okay? This is nothing but the truth that I'm saying.
Come on. Come
Anybody
on.
that might have seen a concert, they already know anyway. So we would, on a consistent basis, go out every night and just, the energy that Grand Central Station brought, right? We brought the energy. And by the time we got off the stage, people were tired. They could hardly catch their breaths. And
Mhm.
so on that tour, we messed the Ohio Players up the whole time. We
Mhm.
just killed them every night. We killed them every night. And so it was a trip that just the whole atmosphere of that particular tour was a trip because, you know, trying to, because the Ohio Players, like they were trying their best to like not hate, you know what I'm saying? They were trying their best to not hate. So the atmosphere was real weird because,
Yeah. Oh
because
yeah. How
yeah,
long were you? How
it
long
was
were you on the road with
tension.
them? How long were you on the road with them?
We were on the road with them for about a long time. I would say at least maybe 4 months.
Ooh, that's a long time to deal
That's
with
a
that
long
energy.
time. I
Ooh.
know.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
was it was tense. It was
Yeah.
tense.
Yeah.
But it was fine. I liked it because
Right.
because just it was just what it was, and and there were a lot of little dynamics that were going on, but basically I like that part of it. I like the part that we were tearing them up, because a couple of the Ohio players, not all of them, a lot of them were sweet, but a couple of them had attitudes, what I'm saying, real arrogant. Like they would wear, when we came to LA to do our LA gigs, it was in the summertime, they would have on full length mink coats in the summertime, that kind of stuff, what I'm saying. So the fact that we was killing them every night, that gave me some satisfaction.
That's funny. Yeah, that's real. That's real.
Yeah,
LA.
that gave me some
That's real
satisfaction.
LA.
Yeah,
That's real LA.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
stuff like
That's
that.
yeah. That's
And
high.
also,
That's
I
a
want
high
to say,
energy. Yeah. Go ahead. Go
yeah,
ahead.
and also I want to say that I loved working in DC. DC and Philly were my favorite places to work. DC first, Philly second, because you guys knew how to party. Like that was the first time I had ever seen people bring their people brought tambourines,
Ooh, I
whistles,
forgot about that.
all kinds of stuff to the
Yeah, I forgot
concert,
about
all
that. I
kinds of
forgot
stuff.
about that.
And while
Yeah.
we were partying, y'all was partying right with us,
Yeah.
And I had never seen that before. And so everybody was like involved. And when you got like thousands of people with tambourines, what's those things that thing?
The shaker rays,
those
the
whistles, all
whistles.
that. So to have everybody involved in that at the same time, like I can't even explain that. Oh, and you were at the gig that time, I believe, when we were somewhere in DC. Where was it? You probably could tell me.
I know where you're getting ready to go. Go ahead.
When the ceiling started falling down. That was another one. When the ceiling started. Where was that?
That was at the Warner Theater.
Okay.
Let me share a quick story about
that.
Yeah,
Go
right?
ahead. Go ahead.
So some years ago, I ended up. Don't ask me how. I ended up at a Prince concert. It was a musicology concert, and I ended up at an after party. And I was in this club at the after party and ran into Larry and his wife, right? So of course, when I run into Larry, it's like some 40 some odd years since I've seen him. So he's like scratching his hair, and all of a sudden, I had more hair then, so he remembered who I was, right? So he's like, oh yeah. He says, oh yeah, I got to introduce you to Prince. So him and Tina wanted to introduce me to Prince, right? So I don't know how we got on that subject of that particular show, but what happened was, that was an amazing show because I was right down in the front and leaning on the front stage, and you all had just come to the solo part, and people, and then Larry had just done the bass solo, and when he did that solo and he hit that last note, the ceiling plaster just started raining down. It was like rain, right? Do you remember that?
I do remember it. It takes Stozo to talk about that. Me and Stozo, he talks about that.
Yeah.
He talks about that all the time. It takes him to talk about that. But so go ahead, continue.
And so it just started raining plaster. And it was the weirdest thing because it just kept coming down. And it was like snow. It was basically like snow. And I don't know how Larry just started talking about that, but he remembered that too. So that was a real wow moment in music, you know what I'm saying? And you remember it too, obviously, right?
Yeah.
You obviously remember that. That was
how can you not remember that?
Yeah. That was the beauty. I tell you I do know that like Washington loved Graham Central Station. The audience is there, and I'm saying for me too, it's just we just love that whole funk thing, like George Clinton and them, they would love coming to DC. Anybody that had the funk at that time would love, because it was a reactionary thing in Washington DC, where the funk was just like, woo, we just sopped it up and just like would give it back to you, because that's important as an entertainer too. It makes you
The energy,
work
you
harder,
got to
right?
have that energy. You got to have that energy.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't make you work harder, as far as I'm concerned. My opinion is, when you have that energy, it makes it a lot easier. When you getting that energy from the audience, and you guys are going back and forth, then it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to work hard, because you know that they already know. And I want to one other gig too. It's looking like some of my favorite experiences in music with Graham Central Station was in DC, but Human Kindness Day.
Okay.
Human Kindness Day.
Yeah.
Because after that, like a riot broke out or something, right?
Absolutely. It was an ugly ending.
It was ugly.
But
before that, like, it was awesome.
Yeah.
It was it was Human Kindness Day. So it was awesome. The vibe, I don't know what went wrong. I didn't even know it was going wrong while it was going wrong, but like, it was the energy, like I said. But let me ask you something. Why is it that DC is so in tune to the funk? Because even now, because I was there in year before last, I did a little funk festival, and it wasn't in DC, it was right outside of DC, but this was a year ago, and the people that are still there, they still love Graham Central Station, and they are still into funk music. Like, what is it about DC that makes them appreciate funk music in particular?
Okay. Without getting too deep, one of the things that Washington is known for is go-go music, right? You're familiar with go-go music, right?
Of course, I love go-go music.
Now the thing about that's a Washington D.C. homegrown thing. One of the things that is connected with go-go music is Africa. There are certain rhythms and certain beats that you can play that are from Africa that make people move.
Right.
It's close to your heartbeat. I don't want to get into the whole philosophical thing of it, but it's just certain rhythms that you just move.
It's primal.
It's Africa.
It's primal.
Yeah, it's primal.
Yeah.
It's primal. It's Africa.
Right.
So I think, really, to answer your question, I think that's what it is about Washington, is Washingtonians, we are in touch with that primal energy. And so the funk has that same primal instinct, influences. It brings it like that. That's really why the funk is effective in Washington, D.C., because it's primal. It's primal. You know what I mean? It's very primal. Listen, I've seen, Washington, D.C. has definitely gone through a whole gentrification now. It's no longer Chocolate City. It's more like Latte City. But I've seen some videos on YouTube where you have go-go music, and in the audience, you have a primarily white audience now going to go-go, which is really unusual, because go-go was just like, black. But it's the beat. It's the primal beat. I think that's really, really what it is, because here in my collection here, the basis of my collection here is all funk stuff. You know what I mean? From the 70s. And that's what Washington, we just soaked it up. Brothers Johnson, whoever had the funk, that it's a primal thing. It's a primal thing. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, why? What is it about DC that these people get it the way they do? Because, I went everywhere. Graham Central Station went everywhere.
Yeah.
We went all over the United States. Philly comes close to the way you guys relate to it. They come real, real close. But Washington and Philly, and places over in Europe too, they come close. Really? But like Japan, for instance, like, those people are crazy. They don't react the same, but they know every single note. They know every single lyric. So they come close to the appreciation. So I always wondered, like, in the United States, because New York, they have another whole vibe. I mean, their vibe, they're funketeers in New York, of course, but it's on another level. It's not on that primal level to me.
Yeah.
But they do appreciate it. And of course they do funk, but something about DC and Philly, they had this other kind of connection. And I always wondered, like, where did that come from? Exactly. Yeah. And go-go music, I love go-go music. And I see where they are trying to gentrify go-go music out of DC. What makes them think they can do that? They cannot do that.
Well, gentrification, that's a
They
whole nother
cannot do
subject,
that.
but that's like you can't
No,
you
go-go
can't
music
separate.
though.
Yeah, you can't separate that from Washington. There's just,
You can't.
it's the basis of Washington D.C.
Yeah,
It's the heartbeat. It's the
I don't know
heartbeat.
what makes
Yeah,
them think go-go is going anywhere. And
yeah.
I had an online radio show called Everybody is a Star. And so I did a interview with Chuck Brown like shortly before he passed. So um I love that. You know what I'm saying? I love to be able to say, because I
Mhm.
want that interview bad. I pursued him and pursued him, and I finally got him. And it was a wonderful interview. So yeah, I love go-go music
Mhm.
and DC.
Like I said. I think that's really what it is. We just primal in touch with the African thing and the funk thing. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just in our system. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I had the opportunity to go to some different places where you all played over the years, and it's not the same reaction that you
Nope.
would get in Washington. It just
Nope.
it wasn't the same. Washington D.C. is just it's just funk city. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
funk city, and that's why it was fun for us, because we as listeners knew that you all liked being here, because it's like you said, it's like an exchange of
Mm-hmm.
energy, right?
Exactly.
And that's what the party was all about. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That was the fun part. When it started raining, that was like the pinnacle. That was kind of like, the sky opening up. You know what I mean? It was like, whoa, that was an
That had not
epiphany. You know what
happened
I mean?
before
Yeah,
or
yeah.
since.
Yeah, that was an epiphany, you know what I mean? Um,
Mm-hmm.
what another thing I kind of wanted to just kind of talk to you about, like, you were a very much a fashionista, in terms of your dress when you were with Graham. What was your inspiration for your style? Did you just wake up and just start throwing things together? Did you have a stylist? How did that work out for the group as itself?
And you know what? I did not know anything about a stylist. I did not know anything about a stylist. Like, I did all my own clothes. I did all my own makeup and all of that. And I look back at the way I was looking sometimes, it's like, it would have been nice to have somebody doing my makeup. But so basically, what I liked was the way Sly and the Family Stone dressed, because I had
Mhm.
never seen anybody dressed like that before. So that's what I like. So I basically like took that and just tried to make it my own, do it my way, watching Rose and watching Cynthia, mostly Rose. So I just tried to do it my way. And so everything I wore was just stuff that I liked. It was just stuff that I
Okay.
liked. And um, it was different. The way I like to dress was different. So I think that might have been an appeal, the fact that it was different, because I definitely did not like what everybody else, I would definitely never have been one that tries to follow trends and all that. Never. So whatever I looked like, it was, something that I came up with in my own mind. And
Mhm.
sometimes it worked out pretty good.
I think it did. It made a
Mm-hmm.
statement. Did you all sit down as a group sometimes and try to coordinate things, or was it just like every man for himself in terms of
Oh no, we
fashion?
would coordinate. No, we would coordinate. We would coordinate as far as
Like
colors
what
go.
kind of colors? Okay, I was getting
Yeah,
ready
as
to say
far as
what kind of
colors go,
things.
like we would have we would go out and everybody be wearing red. Our colors were basically red, green, black, silver, and white, and gold. That's six
Okay.
colors. So we would coordinate. We all had different outfits made, and the outfits would be different, but the colors would be the same. The
Mhm.
color scheme would be the same. So everybody would wear their gold or their red or whatever, and that's how we did it like that. Mm-hmm.
Mhm. Did
So
you have you started using designers toward the end or not?
toward the end, not the well, I guess you could call them designers. I guess you could. They were trying to make it too. They would, they would approach us to wear their stuff so that people would see their stuff. So
Mhm.
toward the end, there was this brother that did a lot of leather and patchwork and denim and stuff. And so there's that one right there. He did that. That was so funky. That's denim and like a
Ooh.
silver lame
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah.
His
Yeah.
name was Michael. And Michael also did a lot of stuff for Shock and Rufus them. He did a lot of stuff for them. So we were using him toward the end to do stuff like that and to do leathers and stuff like that. Chaps, there you go. That's the whole outfit.
Yeah. And
That's
I don't know,
it.
is it possible or plausible for me to still wear your clothes?
Well, I still have that outfit.
You do?
I still have it. It's in my garage, and I don't know if you can still wear it or not. Are you that little?
I'm still that small. I haven't gained an ounce.
Okay, well then you can still wear it because
Yeah.
I still have it.
Was this gentleman's
What
name?
is this? That is like so funky.
Yeah.
His name was Michael. I can't remember his last name right now.
I'm gonna tell you, this is what my memory is. Status.
Mm-hmm.
There's the word status. Michael Status. I don't know why I thought it was status.
No, I don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. Mm-mm.
No?
I don't think so. Yeah. I want to say his last name started something with a W, but I just can't remember right now. But he was, look at his work. Once we found him, we stayed with him.
Yeah, because that, just so people know, basically it's a silver leather and blue jeans patched
and denim
together. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Right.
Patched together, all sewn together.
Handmade.
Yeah.
Handmade.
Amazing. You know what I mean? Like that was I think I've seen some pictures where you had one. I've seen some pictures where Larry had that outfit also too, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That came kind of a little bit later on as y'all started getting some fame and stuff. People would want you to wear their particular clothes.
Right.
They kind of come at you and stuff like that, right? Yeah. I don't know if I don't know if you kind of remember this too. This hat.
I remember that hat. Look at that. See, that's the thing about funk. Like, it was a lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? It was a lifestyle. And so anybody that back in those days, you had to have, well, that's a special hat right there. But that was all a part of it. The apple caps with all the studs and the rhinestones and everything. That's a perfect example of what somebody in the 70s that was into funk would wear, for sure. Where'd that hat come from?
That came from you, but I don't know. I don't know who, but I think the same gentleman that did the suit did this. I don't know. You know what I mean?
No, probably because David Vega's wife Kim, she was doing every time we saw stuff like that, she did it. So I'm pretty sure she did that hat.
This is fabulous, you know what I mean? So did she design clothes for the group as well, or she just did some rhinestone stuff?
Yeah, she just studied it and rhinestone she just funked everything out. That's what she did.
Yeah. That was, like I said.
Put that hat on. Let me see. Does that hat still fit?
Oh Lord, it still fits. Now I don't have all the hair now, so
whatever. Let's see.
Hold on.
Oh, look at that.
So I used to have a little bit more hair.
Look at that. That is so funky, Cliff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funky.
Yeah, so it doesn't go with my style now, you know what I'm saying?
It doesn't go with your style? So
not
that
my
means
style now.
That means you don't want it?
No. This is one of those things that's going to go.
Because you can send it straight to me, baby.
Yeah. It's gonna go. It'll go in the Smithsonian one day. You know what I mean?
I heard that.
You know what I'm saying?
Speaking of that, Graham Central Station.
Speak to it.
Graham Central Station is in there, in the Smithsonian over there, in DC. There's an exhibition, a hip hop exhibition, and they have album covers in these crates. And so Graham Central Station, ain't nobody doubt it, is in one of those crates. I posted it up on Instagram not too long ago.
I saw that picture too. And now I don't know. I don't know how the Hall of Fame works. Is that something that's ever been up in the mix with Graham Central Station, Hall of Fame, and things like that, accolades?
Well,
I have no idea.
Well, what they would do is anybody like that was interested in something like that, they would approach Larry first. So, I don't know how that goes, because Unsung has approached Larry several times to do Graham Central Station. I know that, and he has turned them down. So, but I don't think, though, if somebody approached him for Graham Central Station to be in the Hall of Fame, I don't think he would turn that down. So I
Okay.
guess nobody has approached
Okay. Well, so
it.
so also so tell everyone what are you doing with yourself these days? Are you doing music or are you writing or what does your life consist of now?
So these days I am doing these kinds of, well, this isn't quite an interview, but I'm gonna just call it that just for the
Yeah.
sake of it. I'm
Yeah.
doing
Yeah.
quite a bit of those because, like I said, it's easier for people to get in touch with me. So I've done quite a few of these, which I love doing because, you know, in the funk era, the people, the main actors, you know, for uh, lack of a better term. That's
Right.
not what I want to say. Funketeers, let me say that. The Funketeers, like they are slowly but surely disappearing. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
People are passing. So this genre has never received the correct respect as far as I'm concerned. You know what I'm saying? That
Mm.
funk somehow kind of is getting passed by in the
Yeah.
whole music history thing. And when people do address funk, they address mostly George,
Mhm.
you know, and P Funk, which is fine because they are an integral part of funk, but they are not the only
Mhm.
aspect of funk, not the only faction. So Sly does not get enough. Like, how come there's not a movie about Sly and the Family Stone? There's been a movie about every era of music except for funk. I haven't seen a movie about Sly. I haven't seen a movie about George even. Where
Yeah.
are the
Yeah.
movies? Where's the acclaim? I don't understand it. So for me, I feel like it is my mission and my duty to keep funk alive. And so since I can speak on funk from a candid point of view, because I was there, a part of it, you know, I just feel like, you know, it's something that I have to do in order to keep it alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I can tell true stories. I was there. I know what happened. So
Right.
that's a part of, you know, that's history to me. That's music history. So
Right.
being involved in these kinds of things is what, you know, I love doing that. And so I do this as much as I possibly can. And thinking about doing another online show, a radio show, podcast. I guess they call them podcasts. Now I'm thinking about it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of
Mhm.
work trying to get people, you know, to come
Oh
on
yeah.
in.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I'm
That's the
thinking
hard
about
part.
that. And I have online apparel, a funk apparel website called One Stop Funk Shop, where Stozo and I we collaborated on some t-shirts. And so I'm selling, you know, I'm selling funk, I'm selling the t-shirts, I'm selling my book. Um, and what else am I doing? That's keeping me pretty busy, trying to not catch corona.
Right. Right.
Okay,
And
that's one of my
that's
main
yeah.
things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. But and that's it, you know, just trying to participate any way I can, whenever I can with the funk music, with music, period. Trying to you know, encourage youngsters to pick up while they're doing nothing at home, but
Mhm.
mostly
Mhm.
pick up an instrument and learn how to play a real instrument, stuff like that. Just, you know, staying busy like that. I have a grandson, he's 16 years old. He sings, his voice is anointed. So I'm trying to keep him encouraged, want him to play piano. So
Mm.
stuff like that, being
Wow.
busy,
Wow. Wow. Yeah.
trying to take
And
care of my mother. You know,
yeah.
she's 89 years old, trying to make sure she doesn't catch the corona, you know.
What
So,
I'm gonna try and drop something in your lap just because you were speaking of Sly. Questlove. Are you familiar with Questlove, the brother that has
mhm,
the pick in his hair? Okay. Questlove is going to be, or if not now, working on a documentary about Sly and the Family Stone. So I've kind
mhm,
of seen that flying around and things. And so I'll say this to you as well because you have the perfect energy. That's something you should think about doing. You know what I mean? Putting a whole funk thing together. I just gonna drop that seed in your lap. You know what I mean?
mhm,
You'd be the perfect person to spearhead that. I'm
mhm.
just gonna put that one in your lap.
Okay. Well, I don't know about spearhead, but definitely could work very closely with somebody who would spearhead it for sure.
Mhm.
Very
Mhm.
closely.
Mhm.
Questlove, he follows me on Instagram and he'll check in every once in a while.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He he knows the spirit of. I see some of his things from time to time. He's
Mm-hmm.
an amazing, vinyl collector too. So, he knows the
Mm-hmm.
spirit of it. But I think he's working on that. But that's something that you might want to delve into. Think about. It.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
I
gonna
could
drop that
definitely
seed.
check that out.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
could
I'm
check that out. Mm-hmm.
definitely. Wow, that time flies. I mean, I can't even believe that you're sitting here telling me you got a 16-year-old grandson. Like,
Yeah, and a 14-year-old
what?
granddaughter. Let me say
What?
that. She'll be mad if
Wow.
I don't shout her out.
Wow, that's
Mm-hmm.
amazing thing.
I
That's
know, right?
amazing.
What about you? You
That's
got any
amazing.
grandkids?
No grandkids, you know what I mean? I got an empty
Yet.
house, which is not yet. Not yet. Yeah, yeah. No, you know what I'm saying?
Because I
I
know
got
you
a
have a son, right?
yeah. He's
Mm-hmm.
18. My
Mm-hmm.
daughter's 34. No grandkids. I want freedom. I like my freedom. I don't, I got cats and fish. I'm good with cats and fish. You know what I'm saying? I'm good.
With grandkids, you can have your freedom because you keep them and
I
then
know
you
that.
send
I
them
know
to
that.
you
Yeah,
send them
that's
home.
that's the blessing with grandkids. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good with
Okay.
that. I'm good with that. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? You have to
Mm-hmm.
understand that philosophy is you can't get into the philosophy of like, hey, I'm just gonna drop the kids off and then they disappear. You know what I'm saying? No. You got to set those boundaries and those rules up. You know what I mean? So you're not like Patryce's babysitting service. You know what I mean? You got things to do. You still got a life, right?
Exactly. And they all
Yeah,
know that, and it's all good.
yeah,
And this
yeah.
is Unique's kids we're talking about, by the way.
Fantastic. That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
in closing, what if there's anything that you want to share with people? Give people some of your contact information. I know you said a couple of things about your clothing line. Maybe you can tell
Mm-hmm.
people how they can contact you or reach out for you, things like that.
Okay. Well, I'm on Facebook, Patryce Choc'Let Banks. I was forced into an Instagram account. So on Instagram, the Choc'Let One. Let me see. I do Twitter too, but can't remember what that is. And so I am, have a funk apparel website. Like I said, it's called One Stop Funk Shop. That's the number one stopfunkshop.com. You can go there. I'm selling my books there, my t-shirts there, the stickers, little stuff that will funk you up. And what else? I think that's about it. I
Okay,
think. Mm-hmm.
okay, okay. Words of wisdom. You have any words of wisdom you can share?
Um, Talk to God. He would love to hear from you.
Hmm,
You know what I'm
that's
saying?
good. That's good.
Because I've been bugging him to death, so he probably wants to hear from somebody else right along by
That's
now. because
that's a good.
because I'm talking to him on a daily basis.
That's good.
And
That's
just
good.
right now in these times, just realize and understand that COVID is real. It's
Yes.
real. There's so many people out there that still want to act like they don't believe. I don't believe that anybody really believes that it is not real. I
Hmm.
think for whatever reasons they're
Ooh,
saying it's
ooh,
not real, but they don't really believe that. So,
ooh.
if you don't want to protect yourself, if you don't want to do what you need to do for yourself, then do it for, everybody else. Do it for your people around you. Do it for your family. You know what I'm saying? And that's, so we can hurry up and get rid of this stuff. I
Yeah.
got gigs to do. Aren't you ready to get back out there? Or
I'm
are
ready to
you?
get outside. Oh no, I'm ready to get out of here. I'm wearing a hole in my lazy boy. You understand? my, my lazy boy is like, please get off of me. Get off of me. You know what I'm saying? My lazy boy and my remote control. They're like, please let go of me. Let go of me. CNN, and my lazy
I
boy.
understand. I
I'm ready to get
understand.
out. Yeah, for
I
sure. But you
understand.
know what I'm saying. But I'm
It
like you.
has to be
I'm
right.
a believer. Yeah, I'm a
Yeah,
believer.
it got to be
I'm
right.
one I want the dust to settle.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have to. They didn't have to tell me early on. Like it's real. I felt it. You know what I'm saying. What were you
So
gonna
are
say?
you going to take a shot?
I'm waiting to see what's going on. There's just so much information out there. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? I'm one of the ones that I like to discern my information. I like to
Mm-hmm.
dissect my information, and I like for the dust to settle a little bit
Right.
before I make any decision about anything. Because I'm not
Right.
one of the just like everybody running this way.
Right.
I think probably enough concerts in D.C. where I learned, where the exits are because everybody
Yeah.
sometimes would crash the doors, and so if everybody's going that way, I'm gonna go that way, just sit for a minute and let it calm down.
You mean to tell me that you're
yeah.
not the one that when everybody starts running, you don't start running too?
No, because that's when you get
You
caught
don't
up in the
start running
crowd.
too?
No,
Oh,
no, no,
okay.
no.
Okay.
I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna push back a little bit. Is everybody's going that way? I'm not gonna run with it because I've been caught in one of those stampedes one time when I was a child. And when you get caught in a stampede, that can be life threatening. You could lose your life
Right.
in a stampede. So
Right.
if it's just a matter of your legs getting caught in someone else's legs, that could be the end of you. So I'm gonna sit back, let everybody run, and then run behind them. So that's kind of my philosophy on life. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, thank you, Patryce. I mean, I really, really, really appreciate you chatting with me today. More, like you said, conversation chat, as opposed to an interview. You know what I mean? That's what I want, you know what I mean? And
it
I
was
really
good. I
appreciate
liked
that.
it. It was fun.
Yeah. Thank you very, very much. You know what I mean? So I just want to say blessings to you, and thank you for sharing that with me and your information, your time. You're caring. I appreciate it.
Anytime, no problem. And I just want to say, imparting, may the funk be with everybody.
I'm with that. I'm with that. Okay. I'll talk to you soon, all right? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.